Howdy, yokes! Before we get started today, we just want to let you know that this episode of Bacon and Eggs is brought to you by you! We want to build this thing as big as it can be. More episodes, merchandise, events, giveaways, you name it. No, actually name it. We'll do it, but we can't do it alone. If you enjoy this episode or any of our episodes, head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/baconandeggs. And consider checking out some of the great reward tiers we got set up over there, or making a donation of any kind. We want to keep this podcast free and available for everyone. So if you have a couple bucks to spare, anything goes a long way. We could really use your help to make this podcast the best it can possibly be. So thanks for donating, and thank you even more for listening.
Hi, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And we're back with another great movie from our friends over at Marvel.
Counting down the movies until we get to
the Black Panther!
Black Panther.
Black Panther!
Oh, Black Panther! It's not Japanese.
Is it Black Panther?
Did you try helicopter?
Yeah, I said that. He just didn't want me to make it so fast. We've already reviewed the first 14 movies in the series, so you can go back and listen to those episodes if you want, or you can listen to us really crap all over Polar Express. Whatever you want to listen to, or you can listen to this.
And then I hope you get caught up on what's already happened, as well as some of the other great movies we've done.
Or you can just dive in with us now, because we got a brand new episode to bring to your ears. And one new hero, I think.
Maybe. We can talk about that. But
maybe.
Without further ado, Tyler, what did you think of Legends of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole?
Dude, this is one of those about Legends. Obviously, that's not what we
Let me tell you about my fourth favorite owl-related movie.
Here's the truth about Legend of the Guardians. I am an admin on the Super Carlin Brothers Facebook page.
Yeah.
I get a direct message on Facebook 3 or 4 times a day, positing theories about Legends of the Guardian, or Guardians of the Legends, or the Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Legends. I'll be honest with you. People are always talking to me about that, and I have never seen it. I have no intention of seeing it. I don't know anything about it. But let me tell you what I did watch, Ethan. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, a movie based on an okay song. I mean, it's a very good song.
It's a very good song.
But I don't know.
What song is that, Tyler?
It's Brandy by Looking Glass.
By Looking Glass.
It's described in the movie as one of Earth's greatest compositions, and it's described by its author as definitely not one of Earth's greatest compositions. That is probably, what did he say? What did he say it was?
I have no idea. You did more research on Brandy by Looking Glass than I ever wanted to do in my entire life.
He said the greatest American composition was Desperado.
Like Bruce Springsteen?
I think so.
No, not Bruce Springsteen. Maybe? No, the Eagles.
No, the Eagles.
The Eagles.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's just what he said.
It's a good song for sure. Well, I'm just disagreeing with whoever this guy for Looking Glass is. It's a great song. I do love myself some of the Eagles, but it's not even my favorite The Eagles song.
I agree with you.
It's probably not even top 3.
What about your favorite Billy Joel song?
Or what are we at, number 4?
Number 4.
Number 4, favorite Billy Joel song. Who Nelly? I don't even remember which ones I've already said.
Piano Man.
I'm going to look up Billy Joel songs. I'm going to go with New York State of Mind. This is a great piano ballad about being from New York.
I'm a big fan of, this is the top 5 according to Spotify, top 5 most played. Number 4 is She's Always a Woman, and I like that one.
You know what's an underrated Billy Joel song is The Entertainer.
It's adequately rated as one of the greatest Billy Joel songs.
It is underrated.
Ethan, what movie did you watch this week for real?
We watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You already said this.
I know. This came out less than a year ago.
Yeah, it was released May 5th. 2017. That is 258 days ago.
That's like a quarter of 1,000 days plus 8.
Yeah.
It had a gonzo budget. You're moving around in the script. I don't know if you're going to change this number. Of $200 million. And it made an obscene amount for the quality of movie it was at $863.7 million. Gigajillion dollars. It got incredibly good reviews. 83% critic review, 88% audience reception, and a 67 on Metacritic.
Let me stop
Ethan,
you right there.
I want your quick binary review on this movie, because binary reviews
is that the new thing we're doing now? We're doing binary reviews?
Binary reviews.
Okay.
Before we get into our
quick
review.
explanation on what that is. All binary code is written in just series of zeros and ones.
0 is bad, 1 is good.
1 is good. This movie is a big fat stinking 0.
I'm surprised you said
Zero.
it. I
Zero.
would grant it a 1.
I believe generally that when it comes to these Marvel movies, especially in the later stages, that Rotten Tomatoes is a little bit generous.
Yeah, I mean, definitely people have
This
kind of caught
movie
on.
is in no way an 83%.
That's a B-, Ethan.
This is not a B- movie.
You think it's like a C?
I don't know if this movie necessarily fails, but it sure as heck can't move to the next part of its major. It's got to retake this class.
Oh, I agree with you there.
This is maybe a hard D+ movie.
Listen, Ethan, I'll level with you. Brandy by Looking Glass is a strange song to base a movie. I'll just give you that right now.
I did, however, just as long as we're talking about the music real quick, I did enjoy Awesome Mix Volume 2 better than Awesome Mix Volume 1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to disagree with you on everything you say today.
Probably, but first of all, shining endorsement. There's no cherry bomb on here.
That's true.
Need I go on? If you gave me a mixtape that had cherry bomb on it, I would break it in half. I would say, listen, sir or madam, person that just gave me a mixtape, who do you think you are?
Here's what I want to know, Ethan. This movie has a lot of characters, okay? You and I are familiar with, there's a bunch of characters
Most of them,
in these movies. A lot of these characters were interesting and developing in the first movie. Like, Drax was an idiot and took everything literally, but kind of grew and started to understand the power of friendship, stuff like that. And then in this movie, just loudly laughs and is, like, insanely rude.
So the problem I have with this movie right off the bat is that it is clear that a lot has happened off screen.
Yes.
They have grown and developed as a team to the point where this movie goes under the presumption that they are as developed as they're going to get.
Well, yeah, because now they have to fight somebody who can end the universe.
Right, and that's fine. That's all well and good. It's a pretty good training for what's about to end or happen when they fight another guy who can end the universe.
No, Ego's stronger than Thanos.
He's very easily killed, though.
Yeah, but
very easily.
Bigger threat than Thanos.
Okay, hold on. Before we get any farther into this, and probably too far, we should probably say this review is going to have spoilers in it for this movie. We've already made some. Sorry.
Well, I'm not really sorry.
I mean, we probably should start putting spoiler alerts in these.
I mean, if you're going to listen to Bacon and Eggs, you need to understand that we're discussing the movie as people who have seen it.
Yeah, but this is within the last year.
That's true. But here's the truth about it, okay? Like, Ego, listen, I'll level with you. The first act of this movie is total garbage. I don't like the whole, like...
Whoa. Roll this one back for a second. Not to interrupt you. I appreciate what you're saying. I'm going to take it even farther than that. The first 95% of this movie is total garbage.
No, I disagree with you.
That's okay. You can disagree. You're entitled to your misguided opinion.
If you're going to say all of it except for literally the saddest part of the movie.
Not necessarily the saddest, but the slight build up to that, and then the ending.
I like the ending fight scene. What I don't like is Rocket stealing the batteries. I think that whole story could have been just taken completely out.
Yeah, it had no bearing whatsoever.
Right. Well, but then it had bearing, but like it didn't need to. Like Ego can just be strong enough that he can fight all of the Guardians at the same time while they're in his like brain chambers.
Right, and he clearly is because they were all single-handedly dispatched within 30 seconds of them showing up.
Right. So I don't see much need to have the people in gold, whatever they're called, involved. The Sovereign, which is a cool freaking name, by the way. And maybe that was like a lot of a nod to like the comics, and people were like, oh, the Sovereign made it. I love those characters. But like that kind of fan service is not necessary when you are presenting a group of heroes who are known in the film community, like in the no Marvel fan community, as being less famous, right?
Right.
I think when you are presenting these characters, you can just basically write them however you want. And you should draw inspiration from their comic origin because that's great source material. But you also got to remember that their comic origin wasn't a huge success, right? So it's okay to change the story to make it a huge success.
Right.
You got a do-over button. You don't need the Sovereign. I get it. He needed to steal the batteries so that they could blow up the brain. Rocket always has bombs on him.
Right.
Like, you could have Rocket's got 2 bombs on him. Because literally earlier in that scene, he threw a bunch of bombs onto Ego's tentacles and shocked them to death.
Yeah, but I mean, those wouldn't have done it. But
okay, but he could have
given them the option. Anyway,
he could have had a little neutrino.
This movie plays off the first one in a lot of the wrong ways, in my opinion. In that, like, it took what they had established in the first one, which is this is like a funny movie. It's still got some serious parts, but it's a funny movie. It's gonna make you laugh, and it's gonna make you enjoy these characters. I did not laugh, and for the most part, I did not enjoy these characters.
Yeah, I didn't like what they did with Drax in this one. There was a hold on one second. I don't like what they did with Drax. That was like probably the thing I was most upset about, was how they just like took this character that was really, really cool and interesting and just like ruined him.
Yeah, it's like everything about him, and that he's like super literal. He doesn't understand jokes, and now he like makes jokes.
Right. They just got it completely backwards. You were absolutely right. Like, I didn't laugh nearly as much in this one. And then like the whole Quill and Gamora thing, I was kind of under the impression that it wasn't like an unspoken thing at this point.
Right.
But it is.
It is, yeah. It's not, they're not out per se.
They're not out with each other even. I thought...
And the thing that I don't get with Gamora's character is they have this whole scene in the first fight against the big thing, whatever it is. The thing that was going to steal the batteries. Big squid.
Giant snake monster.
Snake tentacle thing.
Right.
Yeah. Got it. There's a lot of like hentai fights going on in this movie, but
well, I'll tell you what, I hated that fight scene. I like, oh, Baby Groot, he's so cute, and Baby Groot's saving grace.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you right off the bat here. This is the best fight scene in the whole movie.
Really,
I really enjoyed the like perspective shots.
Oh, I thought it was stupid.
I liked it. I thought it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, that's not even what I was talking about right now. Give me a second to roll this thought through, and then we can go back to that. They gave Gamora this like coming of age moment almost, where it like she's all like, oh, the sword's not gonna work against a big alien monster thing, and then she uses a gun and it doesn't work, and she decides last minute to use the sword, and the sword works because Peter's like, the swords are your thing, like stick with what you know, and then that never becomes relevant again.
I know. It's a little jumbled. It's a little confusing. And then, like, the Sovereign, I was dissatisfied with. Like, they were supposed to be this, like, perfect civilization and really uptight. And then they were, and then they weren't. You know what I'm saying? Where they were, like, cracking jokes, and they were, like, all into the video game.
Right.
Drone flying and, like...
Right. I also have an issue with them being drones, because that drones makes it no consequence for them.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah, that's stupid. It makes that whole dogfight cheap.
Correct.
Where it's like only one side is on, any kind of danger.
Right.
That's... stupid.
Okay, but what did you think? So this movie, there's a lot of crap with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I actually was not crazy about Michael Rooker in the first one. And
who is Michael Rooker?
Who's Michael Rooker? He's Yondu.
Okay.
I was
say that like that's obvious.
I thought people knew who Michael Rooker was.
I know him as Daryl Dixon.
What?
From The Walking Dead.
Daryl Dixon is
not Daryl Dixon. Merle Dixon.
Oh.
Daryl Dixon's brother.
Well, gotcha. I was like, Daryl Dixon. That's the dude from Boondocks.
No, his brother.
I just didn't feel like he fit the...
Hold on. I don't want to talk about Yondu yet.
Okay.
I'm not ready to talk about Yondu yet. So we talked about Drax. I have the same issues that you brought up with Drax. I want to save Yondu for a little bit because he's kind of a shining moment in this movie for me.
That's what I was actually getting to.
But
okay, so what do you think about? I think we don't get enough Quill.
Yeah, this movie's really not about Peter, weirdly enough.
The conflict is centered around him.
Right, but it's like first of all, they gave Chris Pratt, the first movie relied a lot on Chris Pratt's comedic timing.
Right.
This movie did not at all. It didn't even give him a chance to showcase it at all. All he did was yell.
Right. He just kept like having arguments with people.
He just screamed at everyone the whole time.
And there's a lot more that he could have done.
Yeah.
And we just didn't get it.
Yeah.
I like the conflict in this movie. I like Ego a lot more than I did my first few passes.
It's a little heavy-handed calling him Ego and then having him be like he is.
That's just his villain name. Like what?
What do you mean?
That's just his name.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying the people who wrote this, it's a little heavy-handed.
Right. I agree with you there. But yeah, well, it's supposed to be like the I Am, like a commentary on there being one sovereign bad.
Right. Yeah, I get that. And that's what I'm saying. Is like it's one of those things that I feel like I don't need to be beat over the head with.
Right. Like it makes sense. But Ego's not like, it's a little, like I agree with you, it's a little heavy-handed, but it wasn't like he was named I Am, I
don't know what you're getting at with I Am.
Or like, the one or something like that. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I agree with you. It's heavy-handed.
Yeah. I don't know. It just like, maybe it's because I've studied too much psychology, but like I took a lot of psych classes in college that like that word is just kind of like a trigger word that I just don't want to hear in this context. Not in like having an ego and like being, the way it's used colloquially, but like the like Freudian meaning about it.
Right. I did like some things in this movie. I actually, like I said, I liked the conflict. I liked the idea that he's been to all these different planets and he's done this thing. I think when I know you don't want to get to Yondu yet, but I think when they explain what Yondu did and they show you all the bones of the children that Ego killed.
Yeah, that was a powerful moment.
Yeah, it's like, well, Yondu, yeah, you don't get to be a part of the Ravagers because you're dealing children. All of the children.
Yeah, because at first I thought it was just Peter. And I was like, but you're just doing kind of like an errand for the dude's father.
Right. Well, I mean, you could say that about all those kids, but...
Right, but like, I thought it was literally just Peter. Like,
right. And that was, I think that's what they
wanted you to think. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So run me down the other Guardians real quick. How did we talked a little bit about Gamora. Did your Gamora stock rise or fall in this one?
My Gamora stock, I feel like rose a little bit. I think that she isn't given a lot to work with, but I think that like her and Nebula's little conflict throughout this movie carries a lot of it.
I liked Nebula even less.
So Nebula was given even less to work with in this movie, and Karen Gillan just isn't menacing.
Well, and they would just be on the same team. Nobody wants Thanos alive.
Well, I think that's what she wants to be on the Guardians.
Okay,
now.
First of all, first issue with Nebula. She's just gonna roll in here looking like a Pop-Tart. What is up with she looks like a Wildberry Pop-Tart, man. What's up with the purple?
Well, every time Gamora would defeat her, Thanos would replace a part of her body with like a robot piece.
So he stuck a purple face piece in?
Yeah.
I don't know. She looks like a Wildberry Pop-Tart from the 90s. That's the first thing I thought of. She popped out and I was like, yo, what's up, Pop-Tart?
Karen Gillan just isn't menacing. She can be very cool.
Yeah.
Like, if Jumanji taught me anything, it's that Karen Gillan can be a badass.
Yeah, she's very bad for this part.
Yeah, it's just poorly cast. And I feel bad for her because I liked her as Amy Pond. I didn't like her in this, and I liked her in Jumanji. She's just not like a great actress either.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's for sure. But she plays that type of character well. She does not play this type of character well, where she's like big, bad, scary, mercenary villain person.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on Nebula. I'm not sold on Gamora.
I like Gamora a lot more. Like I said, I feel like she was able to carry a lot more of the story. I love the scene. Like, I almost did laugh when she like takes the gun from the gunship that Nebula flies in on. Like, fires that at her, and it's just this, like, comically huge minigun in her arm.
Right.
I thought that was hilarious.
And then she saves Nebula. Like,
well, yeah, she's got to save her.
Well, why shoot her in the face, then? Why
All you wanted was to win. All I wanted was a sister.
Yeah, that was... That line, I think, probably accomplished more than it should have.
It accomplished a lot for me. I was like, oh my goodness.
But that's what I'm saying is like they gave us nothing in their relationship prior to think that this would be the case.
Right.
It's like they're exposing it with just the line, and that it falls short for me.
You think it falls short? I thought it was adequate.
I thought it was very inadequate. I think that there was no like, because usually you get a line like that and you can look back and think about like, oh, here's the times where you could see this happening. None of those. There were none of those.
So this movie sets us up for a lot of storylines in the future. Which storyline are you hoping for in Infinity War and Part 2? And which storylines are you hoping for in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
There's a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah, confirmed.
I'm hoping that storyline doesn't happen.
Oh, I know exactly what I want.
I'm hoping. I keep saying hope. You said hoping, and now I'm saying hoping. I'm hoping James Gunn is just like, nah, let's kill it.
No, he's not going to do that.
I wish. One can dream.
One can dream, but this movie set us up for a great storyline with great characters. I'm excited.
Yeah, but this was so bad.
This was so bad, but while all the crap of this movie was going on, you'd see little shining moments, and all of those shining moments had one thing in common. And
yeah, they were Yondu, and he's dead.
They were Yondu, but they were also the Ravagers. Okay, so you got like his buddy who now can fly the arrow, who I love.
Kraglin.
I love Kraglin. I could watch a Kraglin and Korg take over the galaxy, the movie.
Buddy cop movie.
The Netflix
buddy
show.
cop movie.
And then, although Netflix should give up on their buddy cops.
Are you referring to Bright?
Yeah.
That's bad.
I haven't watched it.
Oh,
yet.
It's bad.
But also you get Stallone's character, who one can only pray that man reprises that role. Dude. Because his one scene with Yondu outacts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The whole
You've got a problem with A, acting, B, scripting, when 70-something-year-old Sylvester Stallone is your best actor.
And he walks in and like he just makes a mockery of everything.
Sylvester Stallone. I love Sylvester Stallone. I really do. Out of the like jarhead-looking old dudes that were in the Expendables, he's probably my favorite.
Oh,
but he's a bad actor. He's always been a bad actor.
I mean, but you like when you watch that scene in this movie, you feel like he's been a character in these movies before.
For sure.
Like,
for sure.
He doesn't feel like he's putting on that gauntlet for the first time.
No. And he doesn't make it feel like it's beneath him either. Which a lot of times when you get like a big big name ringer actor in for like a tiny part like this, it feels like, oh, they're just making a camp. This didn't feel like a cameo.
Right. No, this felt like,
right,
I'm going to get more of
but
this.
But like you like I'm saying, when Sylvester Stallone delivering these lines becomes one of the best parts of your movie, rethink your script. Because you look back at like early Stallone movies, like First Blood, the first Rambo movie. All he did in that movie was everything Peter does in this movie, which is just scream at people.
Well, one can only pray that, 40 years from now, Chris Pratt shows up in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 16 and
nothing is over!
And delivers some great lines as the King of the Ravagers.
Yeah. But no, that is a great storyline that I'm very much looking forward to wherever it comes to pass. And if that is Guardians of the Galaxy 3, then awesome. And if they let it die, shame on them. Because I don't think it's going to be Infinity War.
So there's like there's like the Guardians of the Galaxy, not right, like the attackers of the galaxy or the Ravager clan.
Yeah,
that gets together with Stallone. Did you have the same mistake I did? And I had to look it up to make sure I was wrong. Did you think the girl in green was Hela?
Yeah, well, I didn't think she was, but I thought it was like the same actress for a second.
Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Hela, but I was just like, what? Who is that? Who is that? This is my real question.
Where is that?
Where is that?
I looked up some trivia. I Googled it. I was like, is that Hela at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? And all of the responses was like, no, you're an idiot. That's somebody else. And
sorry.
Like, oh, okay, yeah.
Simple mistake to make. I didn't think it was like going to actually be Hela. I was just like, why is she playing the same part? And what's going on here?
Well, I thought it was going to like bring in, like maybe throw Korg there in the background or something. I don't know. Just a little like, because it looks like Thor is going to be the one that brings the Guardians to the Avengers.
It seems like it, yeah. That seems like it's going to be the thing. Yeah. He's going to show up with his new misfit band of people, including Korg and Meek and the Guardians.
Knives to hands?
I'm kind of sad that Mantis appears to be in the Infinity War.
I don't get it, man.
I don't understand. I don't know.
I feel like Mantis could easily have died with Ego, and that would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She's like a refugee from the planet or whatever, but
I don't dislike her. Like, I don't want to say that. I don't want to give off the wrong impression. I don't want to crap on everything about this movie because it did have its shining moment. I don't dislike Mantis. I also just don't care.
Yeah, she's a very forgettable character.
Right. It's kind of like how I felt about Hope throughout most of The Last Jedi. And then all of a sudden she was really important. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, we've got this weird, like, romance going on between her and Drax.
Right. But not really, but also kind of.
Because you are beautiful on the inside.
I also don't think she's hideous. Like, Drax is supposed to be, like, bluntly honest.
Right, well, but that's because, I mean, you get the kind of thing there where, like, that's not the kind of woman Drax is attracted to because, you're obviously attracted to the people that kind of look like your species, the people that are, like, would be the best mate for you, and Drax doesn't need a mate like that. He wants some big, burly, strong person.
Who doesn't dance.
Right, who does not dance. He has that whole scene, which I actually think could have been a powerful development moment for Drax, but then they just kind of cheapen his character with constantly going, ha 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 ha.
She just revealed your deepest, darkest secret.
Yeah.
Why do they split up? I mean, I get like
done talking about this.
Okay,
but yeah, no. We'll get back to that in a second. But yeah, so Drax literally says, she was the perfect woman for me. I saw her, and even the strongest music in the world could not have made her dance. And like that's the kind of person he wants, and that is the opposite of who Mantis is. She's like very petite and thin, and he keeps talking about how like skinny and weak she looks, and so therefore she's disgusting to him.
I'll say this, and it was good in the first one about Drax. I think if there was anything improved about Drax in this one, and I could be wrong. I'm not watching the first one right now, but I thought the way they did his makeup in this one was insanely good.
Yeah.
Like, very, very
everybody,
cool.
The only problem I have with this is everybody who had makeup on, like face makeup, kind of looked like their eyes were bleeding.
They were. Did you not know? No.
Did you notice that? Like Drax looked like that. He had this, like, red stuff, like, kind of, like, around his eyes, and so did Gamora. And
they're tired, bro.
It's just kind of weird for me. I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand that part. But anyway, yeah, no, his makeup looked really good. His whole aesthetic looked really good.
Still super buff.
Yeah, he's
super strong.
Dave Bautista's a big guy.
Big dude. So glad they got him and not like John Cena.
I think
woof.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would have made a great Drax.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I had an idea for in the McCoo.
I'd love to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the MCU.
Who did I have him pegged as? I mean, he could do like Juggernaut or something.
Yeah, he would have made a good Thor.
Bald.
Doesn't have to be.
He can't be blonde.
Sure, he can.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I had a good character in mind for him. Now it's completely lost.
He could be who's the X-Men guy? The big rock dude.
Colossus. He's not Russian.
It could be.
I guess.
It's just an accent.
He could be who's the villain in the next Deadpool?
I have no idea.
It's gonna evade me. He could be him. I'm gonna have to find out. Sorry,
he could be
you're
the
gonna have to deal
Thing.
with this.
Why are you doing this?
It'll just take me a second.
Don't care about Deadpool.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because it wasn't good.
Oh yeah, it was.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the second most overhyped movie to ever exist.
Behind what?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy is good.
I have not said it wasn't good. It's ranked as my number 3 in this list. I'm just saying it was the most overhyped movie of all time.
It is a little overhyped.
No, it's not a little overhyped.
Cable. Cable is the name of the villain. Golly, cannot believe I couldn't remember that.
I've never heard of that person.
He's like notorious for being just like insanely buff. Like the artist who drew Cable was like known for making all of the heroes and villains and everybody like just humongous. And he was the one that developed Cable the most during that time.
Gotcha.
And
yeah, fair enough. I have one, and maybe I'm done with crapping on this movie after this. Maybe. I'm not promising that, but I have one unforgivable issue with this movie.
What's that?
Peter refers to Rocket as a trash panda.
What's wrong with that?
Everything's wrong with that. That's Marvel.
Wait, you say that?
That's Marvel trying to be all cute and meta and like we incorporate memes into our movies.
People have been calling raccoons trash pandas for gazillions of years.
No, they haven't.
Oh yes,
no, they
have. That's
haven't.
not a meme.
Yes, it is.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's a meme. For the movie, for the guy that doesn't know what an MP3 player is.
Do you think the Zune is going to have music from when the Zune was popular on it?
Probably.
I would hope so.
I definitely think it's going to be a
with,
bridge
like...
to introduce Peter to some new music.
Oh, duh. But it's not going to be like what's that Bruno Mars song?
Uptown Funk?
Uptown Funk. It's not going to be Uptown Funk, is it?
I have no idea. I know as much about Peter Zune as you do.
I know a good bit about it, actually. James Gunn's already answered some questions on it.
Okay, then you know more about Peter Zune than I do.
It's gonna be.
Do
you want to know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I mean, sure, whatever. But I saw this movie for the first time today.
Did you like it?
This movie? No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, as much.
Were you disappointed?
As
Were you like
liked,
almost frustrated?
I was super frustrated. It had so many things that were there about it. It looked great. Like the battle sequence was well done. The choreography was there, the graphics were there, it looked great, it sounded great, it had everything. The script was so bad.
Script was garbage. Like literally, you texted me while you were watching it. You were like, "Was this written by a 5-year-old?"
Whoever wrote this script did not attend what UCLA Berkeley or what UC Berkeley or whatever school it is, did not attend their perfect film screenplay class. They did not learn about Back to the Future Part 1.
Yeah, because Back to the Future Part 1 doesn't sound like it was written by a 5-year-old butthead.
It doesn't.
Oh, it does at certain parts.
Yeah, but not in a I don't comprehend the English language or how to make good dialogue kind of way.
It just there was a bunch of things they said that was just like, why would you say it that way?
Yeah.
Why would that's not even exposition. It just doesn't make any sense why you'd say that at all.
Do you have a good example?
I'm pulling up quotes right now. Believe it or not.
Yeah, okay. Then I would like that because I can't think of one either. I'm not just saying, "Oh, do you have an example?" because you're wrong. I'm like, I agree with you, but I don't have examples either.
Like Peter Quill saying, "You shouldn't have killed my mom, comma, and squished my Walkman." And that one I guess is obviously that's the thing he cares about a lot. But if we learn anything in this movie, it's that there are a lot of copies of Quill's favorite movie.
Yeah, they got them all over the place,
floating around.
Yeah, but
it's not just.
But it's the tape that his mom made him.
That's true.
In the Walkman or whatever, and so it's I get that it's like a sentimental thing, but there's a lot of.
Okay, they're doing the hero pose, right?
Yeah.
Towards the end, they've all come back together. And they're doing the hero pose, and Mantis is holding.
This is one of the few times in the movies I actually laughed.
And Rock just shows up and hit Mantis after everything happens, and then Drax says, "Mantis, look out!" A 5-year-old could have written that.
Yeah, I get that, but that's true to form though.
I guess.
That's something they would have done in the first movie. That was funny. I liked that part. I laughed.
Them talking to Groot during that first fight was stupid. They would just ignore him.
You're picking the wrong parts for me. These are parts I liked.
I mean, I'm looking at all of the good quotes from the movie.
I loved the first fight scene. I said this earlier. I loved the first fight scene where it was all taking place from Groot's perspective, and he was trying to eat a bug, and I mean, it felt like it was just another job to them, which is I think what it was supposed to be.
I'll tell you, probably one of the best and worst scenes of the whole movie is when Groot can't figure out the fin. It's awful because it goes on forever.
I think it went on just long enough, actually. This is so weird. You're pointing out all the things I loved.
But then when Groot's talking to him, and Rocket's like, he hates hats on anyone, not just himself. 1 minute he thinks someone has a weird shaped head. The next minute, it's just because you realize the part of that head is a hat. Wait, that's why you don't like hats?
He's learning stuff through translating. But no, actually, I thought that went on just long enough. I think one more time would have been too much, and I thought they were going to go one more time because he clearly couldn't figure out what the fin was, and he was pulling up the gum jar or whatever, and Kraglin was like, "That ain't it, son.
Yeah,
I'm going to adopt this
Kraglin.
cowboy accent that I'm going to drop immediately." That was the only part, and I love Kurt Russell, who plays Ego. Love him. But he kept trying to pull off the cowboy thing. He would just like dive into this like gunslinger accent every now and then and fall straight back out of it.
Yeah, it was super weird.
And he would just sound like Herb Brooks from Miracle.
Is he Herb Brooks in Miracle?
He is. He's the coach.
Oh, that makes sense.
He's the coach.
Okay, some movies do this from time to time. I can't believe this has happened in more than one movie. In fact, I can think of like 3 off the top of my
Okay,
head
hit me.
that have done this. Dodgeball, SpongeBob, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 feature David Hasselhoff cameos.
Yeah.
Why? Why do we need that at all?
I don't know. I don't know. I had the same questions.
Is David Hasselhoff like a huge deal to some people?
I think
I
he
just
was
feel
in
like-
the 80s.
Yeah.
Because
I'll grant you that
all
one.
of Peter's media comes from when he was a kid.
Okay, put like Georgie McFly in there or something. Or I just don't get why David Hasselhoff. Like, and it's not even just
Because
like
it
the
was
one little
Baywatch,
cameo.
man.
It wasn't Baywatch. It was Knight Rider.
It was Knight Rider too. Oh, Knight Rider was cool. People loved it. I forgot about Knight Rider.
That's what it was in this movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was thinking Baywatch.
Yeah.
But no, Knight Rider was cool. People loved Knight Rider. People loved Knight Rider.
Yeah, they did. But that's not this movie is for a younger generation. I don't know. And then like just I'm looking through all these conversations and there's like an insane amount of them that include Hasselhoff's name, which
Yeah, he talks the whole time about like, I thought my dad was David Hasselhoff.
yeah.
And again, like just some really, it was Chris Pratt who's a great comedic actor delivering some really bad lines.
Yeah, I think his best work was towards the end where he's like, when Ego reveals that he gave his mom the tumor and he's like, "You killed my mom," and then he starts like shooting the crap out of him.
Yeah.
I thought that was his best scene.
Yeah, definitely. Because he wasn't just like screaming at everyone.
Right. He's like using his
Yeah, he had, like, a
feelings and being
motivation.
a person.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's I don't know what else to say about Peter Quill in this movie. It was underrepresented.
Yeah.
We did not get the best Peter Quill. We did not get the
Could've
Peter
done
Quill
better.
we deserved.
And then just to touch back on like the conversations that I think a 5-year-old could have written. When I know we touched on this just real quick, but the when at the beginning when they're talking about like when Drax is like, "The beast hide is too thick to be pierced from the outside. I must cut through it from the inside." And then Quill and Gamora go back and forth about like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense."
Skin is the same thickness on the inside as the outside.
Right. I just, like
My
like,
issue
to me that's like a 5-year-old came up to me and he was like, "You know what I was just thinking about? Skin just as tough on both sides."
right, which is not true technically, but you approach the layers in a different order.
Correct.
But the problem I have with it is like, yeah, the skin's the same thickness, but he's got access to a lot of other things when he's inside it, like, its heart
Yeah. That's just
that he could have just ripped out. But no, he was too concerned with cutting a big hole in it. I don't know. That was the issue I had with that scene. It's not the fact that like that Drax had an issue with the skin. It's just like once he was inside it and realized he couldn't just cut his way out. Like, focus on something else, bro.
Right. And then you can get eaten by this thing and it's not a big deal. Why wouldn't they all just get eaten by it?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that.
Showtime. I don't know.
What's Showtime?
Showtime a-holes is a quote from Peter Quill.
Oh man, and Drax with the nipple thing?
Why?
I don't know, because there's no like. You could have literally just given Drax like a Drax line about like a real warrior does not need to fly.
Right. And
Not
instead
like,
you were
I have sensitive nipples.
It's like you just want to say nipples on
Yeah.
TV, bro.
And penis.
Did you
Did you make a penis? Bruh.
Dude! What? Like, I also don't think Drax would have been the one to ask that question. I think Rocket would have.
Yeah.
Rocket would have been like, I was genetically created. Like, formed.
Yeah. I've got a dick. Look at this.
Right. I am Groot.
Okay, so we haven't talked a whole lot about Rocket. Did your Rocket stock rise or drop?
My Rocket stock was already pretty high.
Yeah.
So
I loved Rocket in the first movie.
I don't think I disliked Rocket in this movie, but I don't think it rose.
I didn't dislike him either, but my stock definitely dropped.
I don't think it dropped as significant as Drax.
No.
That was probably my biggest offense in this movie was Drax. But Rocket, we see a different side of Rocket. He's doing a bunch of stuff that like he just didn't do in the first movie. Like he talked about stealing things he wasn't supposed to, but then he didn't in the first movie. In this one, he just straight up like steals the thing they were hired to protect, which isn't very much I think like him. I think he would just take the money and go. So I thought that was a little bit strange on his part. And then he's doing like the winking thing, and he can't figure out which eye he's winking with. I don't know if that's evidence that he's like dying. But we also get like a lot more of like Rocket is not just the brains and Groot is the muscle.
Right.
Like Rocket is the brains and the muscle in this movie,
Right.
which I like. You can see him like laying all the traps and using those and like fighting off the entire army of Ravagers. But then when it comes to like you got to fight Yondu or Nebula, like, he's just completely outmatched.
Right. Well, and Yondu
which I
just
thought was
tears into him at that one part.
Oh yeah, I loved that development between the two of them. That was really, really cool. I could have gotten a whole movie of those two.
Yeah, like the what is he? I'm gonna find the quote real quick. Hang on.
You go right ahead.
It doesn't appear to be in here.
But isn't that the worst when like obviously the best quote in the movie isn't in there?
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's not obviously the best quote in the movie. This whole dialogue, they go back and forth about where like Yondu knows exactly what Rocket's like because they're the same way.
And if you got to think, if Rocket is the same as Yondu, I mean, what kind of guilt is that guy carrying around? Because Yondu was like kicked out of the Ravagers for doing the one thing they can't do, and they're just a bunch of smugglers and crooks. And he like is the reason.
Right, he protected Peter.
Right. Well, but he also is the reason millions of children died because he dealt in children with ego.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he didn't know what was going on until the end.
I get the idea that they knew a little bit more about ego than they're letting us believe.
Really? I did not. Because I felt like, because Yondu literally says, he's like, once I knew what was going on, I realized I couldn't bring you to him.
I guess you're right.
Or like it would have been somebody else before that. Or maybe he learned a few people before that, but there's no way he just sat there like delivering thousands of kids to Ego, like after he learned what was happening to them.
I guess not. But I mean, obviously that would have made Peter the last one.
Not necessarily.
Well, I mean, Peter didn't go with them to deliver all those kids.
But yeah, no, Peter's definitely the last one in the line. Like, I don't think Yondu continued to... That's what I'm saying. Is like, I think Peter was the one where Yondu realized it. That's what I'm getting at.
You know what I didn't like? And I don't want to crap on this movie for 2 hours, because I could, but I'm not going to. But this movie felt like it was made for TV. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you what I mean.
I mean, you just completely changed the subject, but...
Okay, well, let's go back to what we were talking about.
No, I mean, fine. That's fine. Go ahead. But you just, like, didn't answer me and then changed the subject.
Wait, repeat the question, then, because I missed the question.
I don't know. You stopped talking for 2 minutes. I lost it.
Oh, I was thinking. We were talking about Yondu and Rocket, and they know what each other is.
Yeah, we were talking about how, like, Peter was the last one in the line of people, and that's why Yondu's decided to redeem himself. And then I said that and just stopped talking.
Yeah, and I love Yondu's character development. Yeah. I think, honestly, Yondu is, like, carries this whole movie.
Absolutely. But anyway, what were you about to say? Well, because we can get back to Yondu. I know where we're going after that. So,
okay.
Made for TV movie.
Because there's a scene where Peter asks Ego, why did you leave my mom?
Right.
Okay. And then it just cuts to, I don't even know what's next. I think a scene of Yondu and Rocket, or Rocket in the woods or something. And it doesn't come back to Ego's planet for a while. And then when it comes back to it, we don't have an answer. Right? Like, how did that conversation end? And that, to me, is really frustrating. It's like, because that's what TV shows do all the time, is they'll hit you with a commercial break, and then after that commercial break, they'll come back with a different part of the story, and that conversation you were listening to, like, they don't answer it for a while. You know, they suck you in with another part of the story to make you forget about it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
For sure.
And it's like, why would Peter have ever stopped talking to... Like, Peter's smart enough that he would not have stopped talking to him until he got the answer he wanted about why did you leave my mother? And eventually he does give that answer. It's like, I had to, because my purpose in the universe is to be the universe and to destroy all the planets with my
right.
power.
Well, I mean, he obviously couldn't tell Peter the answer to that until later on.
Right, but Peter asked the question, and he wasn't even able to like brush it under the table. I would have been satisfied with I'll explain when you're older or something like that, or you're not ready for that answer yet or something.
I could see that. I mean, I don't necessarily think this that makes it a made-for-TV movie. I think lots of movies do that, where they just leave it on cut to something else, leave it on like a cliffhanger like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't like it. That's all I'm trying to say. Is I didn't like. I was obviously by this point I was critiquing like everything with the movie, because it was like, what is the disconnect here? Why don't I like this? Because I am fascinated by that. When you're watching a movie that like has a story that's told from A to Z, and there's not like holes in it per se. I'm sure there are holes, but like it's supernatural, so you can poke holes and write yourself out of any corner you want. But like, why? I'm fascinated by like, why is this inherently bad and something else inherently good?
Because the script is terrible.
Right.
It's not inherently bad. It was made bad. They made it bad.
Well, the Ravagers.
But
okay, so the Ravagers were cool to an extent. Yondu was cool. Rocket with the Ravagers was cool. Even Nebula with the Ravagers was kind of funny, where she's like, I'm going to take this ship and I'm going to go kill Thanos and I'm going to make him pay for everything he ever did to me, blah, blah, blah.
And then, Kraglin's just like, I meant like a nice necklace or something.
Right, make the other girls go, ooh.
Yeah. He's like, I've never had a thought that deep in my entire life.
Right. But like, the whole Taserface thing, I don't care about Taserface. I don't think that joke's that funny. Rocket is like laughing on screen trying to force you to laugh at home.
Taserface!
Right, like trying to force you to laugh at home, and it's like
That's
okay,
a big problem I had
funny.
with this movie. Is between Rocket and Drax, it felt like this movie had a laugh track.
It did.
It's like I felt like I was supposed to laugh along with it at those points.
Exactly.
Like I didn't have a choice.
Like, most of them weren't funny. Like, and it's almost like they laughed ironically. Like Drax laughing at Peter for having Mantis reveal his deepest, darkest secret is like you feel more sad for Peter that he's laughing at him than at least I did. I felt like, wow, you're such a bully for laughing at me for this. You know, and then Mantis touches him and it's like, this is literal pure joy for him. Like, this is the happiest thing that could have ever happened.
Right. Well, I mean, and I get that though a little bit to some extent because like he just learned to laugh. Like every joke he heard or he hears is the funniest joke ever.
Yeah, but I think they milk it a little too hard.
Well, this movie's full of cheap jokes.
Yes.
Like, what's a good example of that? On Contraxia, the brothel planet, because that's what you would name a brothel planet, Avi.
I mean, it's not an awful name.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with that one. That's a good one. But the cheap joke here is when the high priestess of this yeah, Sovereign. I can never remember this name. The whole time I just kept calling them the gold people because I kept forgetting the name every time. I don't know why. But when they're rolling her in and she like runs out of carpet,
she kind of rolls her eyes.
Yeah, I was like, this is a cheap joke. I felt like
it was a cheap joke.
This is a cheap joke.
I think what they're trying to show you about the Sovereign there and throughout most of this is that like they're not as perfect as they would appear.
Right.
But they do it in the form of cheap jokes. Where, like, Peter Quill's flirting with her, and he's like, I'll show you the ancient ways of...
Right, and she's just like, if you could show me how to make a person in the old way. I was like, y'all trying to f*** right now? Like, what's going on?
What is going on here?
It's just, it's
a girlfriend sitting right there?
It's a lot of cheap jokes.
Yeah.
And, like... When they left, first of all, I don't understand the jump thing, the like space travel thing.
No, I'm not sure I do either. I think that like
it wasn't adequately explained.
Right? Are you trying to tell me that like there's not 9 realms, there's 700? Or are you trying to tell me that like these are kind of like in Star Wars where you pull up to the thing and then you light speed away?
Yeah.
I don't really know what you're trying to show me here.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do know that any opportunity to drop in a little shrooms joke with special effects, I actually like that trope. I think that's a fun
what are you talking about?
You know, like in this movie and in The Good Dinosaur where they've got the faces all moldy and melty like they're on shrooms because they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, and they're like zonking out because they jumped 700 times.
Right. I always think that's fun. I think that's a good time.
A body can only handle about 50. We're about to do 700. I was like, all right, man. That sounds like it's a bad idea.
Sure. It sounds like y'all are really far away. I mean, Peter didn't jump 700 times to get from there to there.
No, well, they took Ego's ship.
That's true.
Which is...
much slower.
I don't know if it's slower necessarily, but it can probably just
I thought it was funny that Rocket didn't understand depth perception. That one gave me a little chuckle. Where he's like, "It's a tiny man. He was like an inch tall," and then he's like, "I'm sure he would have been bigger if he got closer."
Well, yeah, like I don't think Rocket's eyes work right, and I don't know
that's
why.
What they're trying to tell us this whole movie. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they're trying to kill off Rocket, and they're like he's not trying to kill off Rocket.
He's like failing.
Like his cybernetic components are like
failing, and he's gonna have to get him replaced and all that. But when they land on Endor when they first get from Star Wars when they first get away, and it says it's Bert-Hairt or whatever, Bear-Hairt.
You knowing the names of these planets.
Oh, I know the names of these planets because there's a cheesy title card every time, like Star Wars.
Like title cards? Actually, I thought that was only in the.
No, it's like
they don't do that
every time they go to a planet.
Nuh-uh.
Yep.
I thought that was only in the one with all the new planets with Saw Gerrera, Rogue One.
Oh, in Star Wars?
Yeah.
You might be right. I'm not positive.
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe I'm thinking Star Trek. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not. It doesn't say like Tatooine.
Yeah, no. Roses are red, violets are blue. Why does everyone want to go back to Jakku?
Because that's where Poe Dameron was, greatest starship pilot of all time, cousin to Hawkeye.
I'm from nowhere. No, where are you from though? I'm from Jakku. Okay, that's pretty much nowhere.
Oh yeah, Okay, Luke.
That was a better
Skywalker
joke
from
than most of the
Tatooine.
jokes in this movie, and that was like the cheapest joke in that movie.
There's some pretty cheap jokes in that movie. Holding for General Hux.
That was funny. Yeah, but no, I didn't like the title cards in this movie. I just didn't like the way they looked. I didn't like their aesthetic.
I just don't care for the names of the planets, right? Like maybe just some differentiation. Like this is the first planet they went to, and this is the second, and now we're back at the first planet.
Yeah,
that's all
it's
I
like
need.
The Sovereign, which is definitely supposed to be whatever the Cloud City is in Star Wars.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of nods.
And then
to
they
Star
land
Wars in
on
here.
Endor,
Yeah.
where
Well, they kind of crash on it.
Right. Which is where the Ewoks are.
And then, okay, so why is Gamora even for a minute, like, what happened to the second half of our ship? And not like, hey, Rocket, go get that thing that can just literally fabricate another half of our ship.
What thing are you talking about?
Where he's, like, spray painting the ship back together? Did you not
I
notice
did not
that?
notice that.
Yeah, he's just like when they're talking to him as they're
I don't
splitting up.
think she's confused as to what happened to the other half of the ship. I think she's like, if you guys are such great pilots, where's the other half of our ship?
Well, it's because they couldn't agree.
Right, which was
Who was the
stupid.
greater pilot. I agree. I think at some point
Because again,
Peter Quill would have
they
just.
were
I don't think Rocket's pride would have gotten away with it, but Peter Quill would have been like, you know what, whatever, Rocket. Just
they were
fly.
just screaming at each other. It wasn't like a good dialogue. It was just like, I've been piloting this ship for 15 years. Well, I was cybernetically built to fly this ship.
Right.
Like, congrats, guys. You guys get a dick whipping contest going on. And you know, Peter's going to win that 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, because he's the lead.
You know what did make me laugh? Was when when she calls Rocket a fox. He's like, I'm not a fox. And then Groot says, I am Groot. And he's like, I'm not a bacoon either. And then he goes, a raccoon. I'm definitely not that.
I guess, why is Rocket afraid to be called a raccoon?
I don't think he knows what that is.
Okay, that's what he is.
But I don't think he knows that.
He just thinks I'm Rocket.
He's Rocket. Like he doesn't apparently think he's a raccoon. A raccoon. That's the vibe I got from this. I'm not positive on that, but that's the vibe I got from this.
I don't know. I just think that's a silly thing that they keep coming back to. Is like he hates being called a raccoon. I don't know that they talk about that in the first one. He's got that awesome scene in Nowhere where he like freaks out and he's like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. When he's drunk?
Yeah, and he's like, nobody respects me. They just treat me like a little trash panda. Blah.
Right.
And here we are respecting Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, I don't really know where you're going with that.
I don't either. I'll be honest with you. Maybe that's why he doesn't like it.
I don't think he knows he's a raccoon.
Why can't somebody just tell him? Like, Quill be like, oh, okay, here's what it is, bro. Okay, so on Earth, we have raccoons. They're these little mammals. And you are made of the skeleton and body of one. But your brain is not the same. And you walk on two legs.
Yeah, but why is it like upsetting you so much?
Well, I don't know. I just feel like if you were on the spaceship, you'd be having the same conversation with Rocket. You'd be like, why is it upsetting you so much that people call you a raccoon?
I don't know. I thought it was funny. I think that was...
You think it's funny?
I guess. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know.
Why do they split up?
I have no idea.
I mean, I get it so that like Yondu and Rocket can do their thing together.
Right.
That's fine.
That was a cool scene. When the Ravagers go to attack the ship and Rocket's just like totally ready for him.
Yeah, he's like
bouncing him up and down with the weird bomb things.
Yeah, that dude can build a lot of things. He's very, very talented at putting stuff together.
He is. He's got little hands.
Little tiny hands. But he also does the little like, knocking people out with his own fighting, putting people down. Because I guess now that Groot obviously can't be the muscle right now, he's got to do, we talked about this, he's got to be both sides of the equation.
Right, yeah. So Rocket's got a lot of weight on his shoulders because Groot's not useless, but he's definitely not as useful as he used to be.
Do you think Yondu's arrow is overpowered?
Once he got the new fin, yeah, definitely.
That's a prototype.
I have last question before we move on to Yondu. I know I keep saving Yondu. I just really want to talk about Yondu a lot. But Groot stock. How do you feel about Baby Groot?
I got a Baby Groot on my desk.
But do you like Baby Groot? You a big Baby Groot fan?
I could take it or leave it, honestly. They made this whole movie about like they keep using the line, we kept you around because you were small enough to fit into tight spaces, and then like at the end, Groot is the one that fits into the tight space because he's small.
Right.
Which I thought was stupid. I think you could have, I don't know. I don't know what you could have done there. I mean, obviously you had to throw Groot in there, but I feel like he just didn't add much to it. He's just cute, right? So it's like anytime you're like, oh, this movie's kind of getting boring.
There's a
like,
funny
there's
Baby Groot doesn't know stuff joke, which I did.
Right.
I did laugh at those. I liked the scene where he brought the desk over.
Oh yeah, I thought that was
funny.
A good scene.
I liked the tape thing.
I didn't like where the Ravagers were like pouring beer on him, and then they were like, no, we can't kill him. He's too cute. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you're pirates. I know. Only one of you actually talks like a pirate, but Taserface had some dialogue lines that made me think he was just straight out of Pirates of the Caribbean.
There's no ship that can match the Interceptor for speed.
We can never do that movie.
I was
gonna say we would just read the script.
You cheated, pirate.
But yeah, so I liked the scene with the tape where like Groot couldn't figure out how to. That went on just long enough for me. It was good timing on that one. Where like Groot can't figure out how the button works.
He does press the right button. I was kind of surprised about that.
Well, I mean, it would have killed them all.
But Groot in the first one, he's the muscle, so to speak, but they're dealing with like cosmic problems, like on a level much bigger than like man-to-man muscle. And then the one part, like Ronan, could just destroy Groot, could destroy any of them. You know what I'm saying? Except for Peter Quill, because he's a Celestial and can hold an Infinity Stone.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. Maybe. I think they can write that back in.
Definitely.
Where, like, the Hulk was cured.
Where he kept some of it. Yeah,
so,
like it's in his blood.
You know.
Yeah, they can. It's not gonna be that hard to write that out or write that back in or whatever it is.
If they need him to grab like the Time Stone or something, like whatever. Oh, he's Peter Quill. He can better.
But yeah, so I liked Baby Groot. But yeah, let's talk about the Hawkeye of this movie, the real savior, which is Yondu.
Yondu. Too bad he died.
Yeah, I hated that. As a whole, that's 90% of the issue I have with this movie.
Is that he's dead?
Is that like that's how you salvage something out of this trash heap of a movie.
With a very great emotional connection
is like you made me like this character and then you killed him.
Which was brutal.
Yeah, which was brutal.
On me.
Brutal.
I was sitting there like... Because the whole movie, you're like, wow, anytime this guy's on screen, this movie doesn't suck.
So I hated Yondu in the first movie. To me, in the first movie, Yondu was equivalent to the Gold People. Like, he was that third party that was kind of there for no reason.
It didn't make any sense.
Right. It's like, you're questioning his motives. It really could have gone on without him. But in this movie, Yondu was awesome. Right from the beginning, you could tell you're going to get a different Yondu. Because he had clearly just hooked up with the robot yellow skin lady on Contraxia, and he was just not stoked about it. It's like he's putting his pants back on, all of his friends are outside in the snow having fun, and he's just like I don't like this.
Right, you get in the dark side of Yondu here.
Right. And so he goes downstairs and like sees Dakar or whatever his name is. Stallone, yeah. What is
Stallone straight up, man, he destroys that business.
Yeah, you just lost business with 99 of the Ravager clans because you did business with one of them.
Boom. And the lady's like, please, no.
You're our only customers.
Yeah.
You're the only people in the universe horrible enough to come here. But I don't know, I mean, it's just Stallone really sold it for me in those lines a lot more than I thought he was going to. Because like, he had some really cheesy lines of dialogue. So cheesy that they're not even showing up in the quotes on IMDb.
They're not going to give you the greatest character. I mean, Stallone really carried... He set up Yondu to carry this movie.
Right, it's like, because Yondu had something to prove at that point. But like, he's like, you're not going to hear the horns of freedom. And like, that's such a stupid line. Like, anybody else doing it could have ruined it, but Sylvester Stallone bought into it so much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's kind of like Thor coming up to Loki and being like, you know, you filthy ice giant, you will not dine with us at the tables
in Valhalla.
In Valhalla.
Right.
With endless mead and reckoning and whatever. I don't know.
Right. And so, but we discover from that, too, why Yondu is, like, exiled from the Ravagers. Why he's, like, an outcast. It's because he deals in kids, which you don't do.
No. They really make him out to be, like, a total villain.
Yeah, they make him seem like he's like selling children into like a sex trade.
Well, he was selling children to be murdered instead.
Right.
Or to take over the universe.
But I still maintain that there's no way he knew about that. He proved himself in this movie to be a good enough person.
I agree.
I did think the whole like thing where Drax thought Yondu was Peter's dad, I thought that ended up being a little heavy-handed.
They look exactly alike.
That was funny. But
yeah, we're like, now it's clear that, you know, oh, there's this parallel between Peter wants a father, but Peter's always had a father figure.
But he just never understood it because his father figure was kind of a dick, but...
Right, but he could whistle like an angel.
Yeah. Oh, that whole freaking speech.
Yeah, where he's like, you were my Hasselhoff.
That almost ruined that whole thing. It came so close to ruining the end of the movie, which would have made this movie unsalvageable.
Oh, yeah, it would have been bad news.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Yeah. Oh, man, it was... I literally wrote, I'm reading my notes, I said, oh my god, this speech... I hate this movie.
It was frustrating. Like, anytime it was setting you up to be great, it would throw you in something terrible. It would be like, I can't believe you killed my mom, and then you'd shoot him down, and then Ego would respond with, I tried to become the form that was most pleasing to you, and was like Hasselhoff, and it's like, you just threw a joke in there, man. This was like one of those serious,
that was awful too, and he's just like,
moments.
Peter, if you kill me, you'll be just like everybody else. And Peter just, again, screams at him like, what's so wrong with that?
Yeah, and then they're having the big fight, and, you know, he like turns into giant Pac-Man. And it also has the common trope that you just can't get away from in a lot of these movies where like Ego is like, it'll take you millions of years to learn how to do all this stuff, and then he's like, I'm gonna build a giant Pac-Man, and then like later that day he builds a giant Pac-Man.
Right. Well, that's because Yondu taught him the secret, because Yondu's his actual father.
His daddy.
Like who
may
actually
have been your father, boy, but he
actually teaches him things. And he's like, do you think I make the arrow fly with my head? I use my blade.
Right, they played it up like he said heart at the end of that. He didn't.
No, he didn't. But Peter gathered it.
Right.
And he just kind of hearted his way out of it.
Ravagers beat their chest, their heart.
Yeah.
Unleash.
I just did it again. Ow.
Hit too
Yeah.
hard.
I keep hitting my sternum.
Just work out your sternum.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
Get
well, I got
swole
you.
right on my
Recovery.
chest bone.
Yep. You just need more muscles, Ethan. I think that's really what this all boils down to.
I think more muscles would hurt my bones more. It would make me stronger.
Right. But you need more muscles on the bones you're hitting, not the bones you're
There's
hitting
nothing
with.
over your sternum.
Or your knuckles.
Yeah. Yeah, knuckles. Do you know the way? Oh yeah, I knew I wrote something else in my notes earlier, and not to shy away from Yondu too far, because I'm not done talking about him. But I wrote down another cheap joke in this movie: the freaking thing with the fruit, nebulous thing with the fruit.
It's not right.
Where they're like, the fruit's not ripe yet, you can't eat it.
You don't want it. It's not right.
And then she gets it and eats it, and it's just like, it's not ripe.
I think she should have just eaten it. What do you think?
I think that whole joke was unnecessary and didn't really make me laugh. I actually wrote, fruit wasn't ripe, that's what you get.
I feel like what they go for with the Nebula thing with a lot of these characters is just like, the power of friendship, and friends are just like family, and family has silly feuds
but friends
over
aren't
stupid
like family.
stuff. I know, that's what
Drax says.
Exactly,
It's like, we're not friends, we're family.
Right, but that's saying like your friends can become as important as your family. I think that's what they're going for there. That's why, he was never your dad.
He may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. Yeah. So when Yondu gets the fin, that arrow thing is so OP.
Yeah, I mean, he does the same thing in the first movie.
No,
I don't think that fin is any different.
Yeah, it is. That fin is stronger.
I thought that fin was weaker. He says a prototype. I thought it was like the one he had before the one he has now is what I was under the
prototype would mean it's like a new one. Like it's not released yet. Like it's like in beta because it's stronger, it's more powerful. It's definitely more powerful because he literally obliterates everybody.
Rocket shoots through some doors.
Yeah, that was a cool scene.
Come a little bit closer, my girl.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. I liked that one. But that definitely shows that he can
why?
pretty much wreck everything with that fin or with that arrow. Do I know why? What?
I don't know. Oh, do you know why that scene was so great?
Why?
Because it was Yondu and Rocket, and they were the only two good characters in this movie.
And Stallone. No, I mean Ego was good. Ego was a good villain.
Ego was good. I think I like, honestly, in this crap heap of a movie, Ego is... He was like a seriously good villain.
Too good of a villain for this movie, honestly. It's like the rest of the movie couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah, no, it definitely couldn't. It was like, this man can destroy the universe right now. And I don't really understand why, like, the big cloud of smoke becomes him. I think they could have done, like, a thematic something with the way that, like, his planet looks to, like, that's what the flower sprouts into. Like, just imagine it this way. Say his planet was all, like, kind of like in Doctor Strange, where it was, like, cogs and steampunk-ish almost. Right? And then when the flower bursts, like, it just starts steampunkifying everything. Right? And maybe that's the wrong example, but that's kind of the vision I want to give. Because, like, instead it just bursts into, like, a big blue cloud of
death, murder.
And death. And that's not, like, to me, like, you're spreading literally what you refer to as the light across the galaxy. Why isn't it light?
Because it's not the light, because he's evil.
Well, sometimes all one must do in the darkest of situations is simply turn on the light. That's Albus J. Dumbledore.
Its middle name is not J.
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore. Sir.
That's what it is. Albus P.W.B. Dumbledore.
Yeah. Well, so, and I get it, because the ego is the thing that corrupts the id. This is what I was talking about earlier. It's the ego, the super ego, and the id. It's the three senses of self.
Okay.
And it's what I was talking about in Freudian psychology. And the ego is the thing that corrupts the id, which is the true self.
So this movie is just like a Psych 201 lesson?
I mean, sort of.
Tell me more, Ethan. Teach me, because we have 48 minutes of more content to fill, and I think we've already shadowed
I mean, I don't know that much about it. It's been
Teach
a long
me.
time.
Teach me, almighty sire.
All I could think of was Claptrap. Protect me, Squire!
I said sire.
I know, but that's all I could think of.
Did you know that while Ethan's looking this up, maybe at this point in the universe and maybe not, time is relative. And if you want to be an ancient king, you can do that at any time. Did you misread Einstein? But anyway, while Ethan is looking up the history of the ego and the id, I would. I'm going to tell you about a few things. First off, when I was in high school, there was a period of time where Chris and Ethan, who were my two friends in high school, Ethan's one of them, he's on this call, would text me and say, I'd want to go to the movies. And they were saying ID, like I don't, like how you start I don't know or I don't care, like IDC or IDK. But they would just say ID, and it'd be like, ID want to go to the movies.
Yeah, I did that for a long time.
I'd be like, what do you mean you
Chris
would want to go to the movies?
still does this.
Yeah, and it's like, did you want to go to the movies or did you not want to go to the movies? What do you want to do today? I don't want to go to the movies. Okay, why didn't you just say that? It was very frustrating. But anyway, what I was getting onto is in the near future, past or present, Bacon and Eggs, the YouTube channel, which maybe you're listening to this on, maybe not, it's up to you. We'll be posting our first gaming videos. What? It's going to be the Minecraft.
It'll be the near
Borderlands
past.
2. The near past? Yeah. Is it already scheduled?
No. I got to make the title card. But other than that, I'm probably going to put it up this weekend.
Oh, neato burrito. Well, I hope you're enjoying the Bacon and Eggs gaming. If there's any games you want to play or join us on the gaming, you just let us know. Ethan, are you ready to teach the world? Because I've been doing some Sleep With Me podcast tangenting.
Get some really ASMR stuff going on here.
Right.
So crash course on id versus ego. The id it operates on the pleasure principle, which is the thing that seeks out all of your basic needs. So like the desire to, survive and procreate.
Okay.
And
that's what ego does.
Right. So I think I was a little bit wrong about this, and ego is a strange name for him. But ego, it tries to rationalize, it operates on the reality principle and tries to control the id. And so it thinks that it's balancing reality and desire.
You know a lot about this stuff.
This is what Wikipedia says.
I'm not going to lie to you. When somebody tells me they're in Psychology 201, I just ignore everything they say about psychology. To me, Psych 201 is just like 4th grade world history. Like Christopher Columbus came and the Indians were awesome and they loved him, and then Thanksgiving was great and it was all just a happy time. Right, and then in college they're like, Christopher Columbus came and literally brutally murdered an entire
I learned more in Psych 201 and 202 than I probably did in most of the classes I took in college.
Is that
more of it sticks with you for some reason.
Do you want to know what makes an idea sticky?
Yeah.
It's the way the story was told. I was just reading a book about this. It's the way that it is taught. It needs to be like it's easy to remember fascinating tales to astonish.
Yeah.
Dogs and cats living
Mass
together.
Hysteria.
Mass hysteria.
Ghostbusters. Child's Play.
What? I was quoting Ready Player One. Is that in Ghostbusters?
Yeah. Bill Murray says that in Ghostbusters.
Oh, well, it's also a line, I guess, referencing Ghostbusters in Ernest Cline's Ready Player One. That Will Wheaton has read to me many times.
Yeah, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. It's Bill Murray talking about all of the terrible things that will happen when the ghosts are loose.
Gotcha. What was I saying? What makes an idea sticky. So like a story is easier to tell. Like I could open up an encyclopedia right now and read you the encyclopedia entry on arachnids, and you wouldn't hear any of it. But if I were to tell you, like a friend of mine was recently at a bar, and at that bar, a woman approached them and bought them a drink. And asked them to go home with them. Afterwards, he accepted the drink and woke up, from his perspective, 20 minutes later, iced down in a bathtub with a pipe coming out of his back. A note on his chest said, "We've stolen your kidney, and you're otherwise good to go. Just lay here until 2 p.m. You're much more likely to remember that story than the encyclopedia entry on the.
So is that why the only things I remember from Ant-Man are Luis's stories?
All I know is that Rothko changed my life.
So that's literally like the thing I remember now from Ant-Man is Mark Rothko.
And then there was a rosé that saved the day.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I get it when somebody's telling me a story, especially like certain people, like if they have like a good storytelling voice, I get like a weird feeling. Like my body gets like excited.
Do you love a good story?
I guess so. It's like a subconscious thing where I feel like tingly almost. I'm like, this is...
What kind of story do you like?
Any kind of story. It could be like...
Do you like to be a part of the narrative like Night Vale, or do you like someone to tell you a story that's happened?
I like somebody to tell me a story that's happened.
Okay.
But I mean, I can be part of the narrative, but generally I just find it to be cheap.
Do you want some good podcast recommendations?
Sure.
You know what podcast I've been listening to recently, Ethan? And I'm about to shout out somebody that I met one time. But their podcast is actually really incredible, and it's really short and easy to listen to, and she was a really cool person when we met her. But I've been listening to The Story Behind.
Yeah. Have you?
Have you had a chance to
I have
listen
not,
to this?
but I am going to probably tonight now that I'm interested.
It is incredible. They're like 5 to 10 minute episodes where she just breaks down like the history of one thing, and she does a really, really good job of just like diving into the story. And she's got a great voice, and like her voice acting is way better than you and I, who literally just sit down and like talk.
Yeah,
on
we're
a
not
microphone.
voice acting.
She, like, right. She's like in a script. It's like,
Right.
whoa. But she tells these like really cool stories about the history of like the one I listened to the other day was about like the Reese's Cup and like how that came to be, and like they're bite-sized stories. They're not like, you know, you're not going to come out of it with like a biopic understanding of the guy that invented Reese's. But you're going to come out of it with like, oh, that's cool. Did you know that they originally were like this, that, and the other?
Right. So
anyway, good
yeah,
podcast
so
to listen to. If you guys needed a
we're a little bit off
suggestion.
track here, but that's okay because I think we've talked about a lot of what we need to talk about with the movie. But yeah, so it for me it depends on who's telling me the story and how they're telling it. So like some people I won't get the feeling, and it doesn't matter what the story is at all. Like it could be about anything. Like I've listened to Malcolm Gladwell's TED Talk on spaghetti sauce like dozens of times, just because like his storytelling about the guy who invented different types of spaghetti sauce is so compelling to me.
What I mean, here's the truth of the matter, Ethan. Though, is that you are just a sucker. You know?
No.
You'll listen to anything
If it's a good story, being told well.
Exactly.
So like I got nothing out of the story you were telling me about the person with the kidney. Nothing.
Well, I wasn't really telling it very well. I'll give you
But
that.
like, so I got the feeling listening to Nate's stories on our previous podcast about talking about Back to the Future 3.
Dude, those stories were awesome.
So like, there's a lot to be said for storytelling. I don't know how we got here
The storytelling ability.
because this movie has no storytelling.
No, it doesn't, and that's one of its major flaws. But only one of its major flaws. Major flaws?
It has so many.
Did you not salute to major
did.
flaws? Okay.
I'm also for like I got confused for a second as to why I was looking at the IMDb quotes for Ghostbusters.
This has been a day with Tyler.
Yeah.
Haven.
You got a lot of... So, at the end of the day, there's not a lot to talk about with this movie, unless we really want to just sit here and pick it apart for why it's terrible.
I always feel bad doing
And I know
that,
that's the thing is I don't want to do that. We can go through the plot, and I can tell you every scene and why it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely... Every time it almost takes itself seriously, it takes itself in the wrong
Right,
direction.
and I don't want to do that because we're not adding anything to the conversation at that point.
Right. Now, was there anything in this movie that you're hoping... I know we talked about Stallone and that, but was there any Easter eggs you saw in the background? Like we see Stan Lee with the Watchmen, or not the Watchmen, but the what are they called?
I have no idea.
Watchers.
Is that who those people were?
Yeah, they're the people that Stan Lee actually is.
Yeah, so he's posited to be the Watcher, right? That's a thing.
Right.
Well, it's not a confirmed
Right.
thing, but that's what we're going with.
I mean, how else would he have gotten to there?
I mean, it's just a cameo. There's a Stan Lee cameo in all of them.
I know. but
Even
how
Big
on earth
Hero
is he
6.
getting through all- Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah.
But you know, that's how they do it. That's c'est la vie.
Levy. It's
You know,
easy
I don't think that's ever going to come to fruition. He's like 98 years
Yeah,
old. or
he's
something
old
like that.
AF.
They also, yeah, he's super duper old. Whatever, no problem. The other thing about this movie, there's another Howard the Duck reference.
He was like in it.
He's like in it, like in the proper film, which is
Yeah,
weird.
he had like
Howard
some
the Duck-
weird like pervy line like once you go duck, you don't give a something like that.
Like that. That's a t-shirt right there.
Jesus.
He's got like some weird line, and I didn't know. I didn't know what Howard the Duck was probably until I got like really into like the film critic
Yeah, I had no
culture
idea.
part of
No
my life.
idea.
And then it was like immediately apparent. Like everybody's got a video about Howard
I don't know
the Duck.
why.
It's like The Room. It's like it wasn't even on my radar as even like a thing. And then when I started reviewing films, it was like, oh, you've talked about The Room already, right?
I don't want to talk about the room.
By the way, I know we have not.
I
It is not on the docket.
I don't want to be that film podcast.
No? Are we gonna have a new podcast called That Film Podcast?
Sure, where we just talk about all the movies everybody else talks about.
Right. All those cliche flicks.
Listen,
this week we're talking
here's
about
why you're wrong. Even if they're right, we just take
this
the
is what
other
we're doing.
side.
We're doing a series on movies that are on men's dorm room posters. So we got Scarface, we got Boondock Saints, we got Sin City, we got Scarface, we got what else we got? We got Boondock Saints.
So I'm reading through my notes real quick just to make sure I didn't miss anything.
We're doing a month's worth of Blue Mountain State.
So I'm reading through my notes real quick just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And it turns out that I hate Nebula a lot more than I think I do. Yeah, because
Do you?
every time she shows up on the screen, I just made like a passive-aggressive comment about it.
She's
like,
just
the
like-
end when the
she
at the
makes
ship, at the
passive-aggressive
end when the ship
comments.
blows up and she lands on the ground just fine. I wrote, "Oh, of course Nebula's fine."
Of course she is. Yeah, I mean, she just I don't know if it's bad scripting or if she's just not intimidating, because her outfit's kind of scary looking.
She looks like a Pop-Tart.
She does kind of look like a Pop-Tart. Her outfit also doesn't look cybernetic. Like, it looks like plastic makeup.
It would look a lot
what
less. It would look a lot more cybernetic if she hadn't been in Deus Ex. Or no, Ex Machina. That was it.
She wasn't in Ex Machina.
Wasn't
Karen
she?
Gillan? No.
Pretty sure she was. She's not an Ex Machina.
Yeah, Karen Gillan is definitely not an Ex Machina.
In my mind, she is.
Although, I mean, if we're doing movies on men's dorm room walls, I bet Ex Machina's on that list.
That movie sucked.
You didn't like it?
No.
Huh.
That movie sucked.
I mean, it's just one of those movies. I kind of want to do rankings. I know it's a little early to do that, but I really want to talk about them.
Okay. Well, any last thoughts?
I think the second half of this movie, because it's more...
Pause.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Alexa, stop. Mind your business. Leave me alone. Don't backtalk. She's gonna backtalk.
Wait, once you say her name, she's going to start doing that.
I didn't say her name. That's the thing. I was just sitting here talking. I hear. Bloop.
So I want to talk about the rankings for this movie. But the final thoughts. I think the second half is a lot better because it focuses a lot more on Ego, who's got clear motivations, who's got good delivery for the script that he was given, and who is a truly menacing threat to the universe. Is all good. I'm all thumbs up on that.
I'm with it.
And because you get a lot more Yondu, who has got just this really, really cool, deep story throughout the whole thing. And, it's this kind of redemption, sacrifice, great story. I like Yondu.
That sacrifice moment was tough.
Yeah.
That was...
And then, he can't pull the thing off to give it to Yondu.
Yeah. That was...
I think
that was a lot.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Do you remember in the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 when Peter Quill does the Princess Leia thing out of the sky because he's a Celestial?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I just wanted to bring that up.
I did. So let's talk about rankings. I want to do some maintenance on the rankings first.
Okay.
So I have 2 suggestions to make, and you can tell me how you feel about them.
Okay.
We did the Marvel recap, right? That was what we did last week, and then we did not last week. We recorded it last week, and it came out last week. This doesn't come out for several weeks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Confusing.
Okay, so we really sat down and talked about the ranking of each movie there and that. And I think Iron Man 2 was better than Thor: The Dark World. I've been thinking about it. It's keeping me up at night.
I think we may have been kind to Thor: The Dark World.
I think we were kind to Thor: The Dark World.
Because it came out around Ragnarok.
Yeah.
On our end of things.
I agree with that. It's not a good movie.
We were jazzed up on Thor.
Yeah. It's not a good movie, and I think I wanted to like it more than I did. And I don't think Iron Man 2 is as good as Thor, the first one, but I think it's better than Iron Man 2. So I would like to flip-flop those.
Okay, where does that put those?
It puts Iron Man 2 at 12 and Thor at 11. Other way around. Puts Iron Man 2 at 11 and Thor at 12.
No, you said
Thor the Dark World. Thor the Dark World at 12.
Okay, you got it.
Yes.
Thor is the name of a movie.
Right, and it's one right above that.
Right. Okay. Was there another piece of maintenance you wanted to do?
Sorry, that they would be... So at this point, we'll have written Doctor Strange in. So those would be 12 and 13.
Okay. Because Doctor Strange is definitely better than both of those.
Doctor Strange is definitely better than both of those. That's the other thing I want to talk about. Doctor Strange is better than Captain America: The First Avenger.
You think so?
I think so. I thought this at the same time, and I'm going to make another case for it. In that, I thought it was a more enjoyable movie to watch.
Doctor Strange was really good.
It's
was.
It's up against a lot of heavy hitters up there toward the top of the list, but
where does it rank at right
currently
now?
It's at 7.
And you want to put it at 6?
I want to put it at 6.
What's ahead of it?
Captain America: The First Avenger.
No. I mean, what's 1 through 5?
Iron Man, Captain America: Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and the Avengers.
Okay, I can jive with that.
So I'd like to move it up one space. I think we were unkind to it.
I think I'm. Can I tell you what maintenance continues to pressure me from the community that I'm not going to waver on?
Yeah.
People like the Avengers better than Age of Ultron.
People are wrong. People are wrong.
People are wrong.
Age of Ultron's close. Awesome. They're very close.
Very close.
It's just
you know what? Avengers has got some shining moments.
Right, but they were very
introductory moments.
They were very similar movies, and I think that Age of Ultron just did a little bit better at a few things.
I agree.
But they're so close in the ranking in my mind that nothing's gonna split them.
You don't think they could ever be broken up?
I mean, they could be broken up, maybe not by a Marvel movie. I think that any case you can make for a Marvel movie being better than the Avengers, you can also make a case for it being better than Age of Ultron.
I agree with you there.
So I don't think they're going to get split up. I don't, but that's irrelevant. I don't want to move that. I don't want to move the Avengers up to 4.
Okay, I agree with you there. I think Age of Ultron is better. I think the community is wrong, and maybe it's just even my own prejudice is wrong. But
yeah,
it's not my prejudice, but I find this in a lot of places. Like how you and I were convinced that people like Back to the Future 2 better, and then we found out that
they didn't,
and
we didn't.
Right, and we didn't for sure.
We like Back to the Future 3 better than Back to the Future 2, as we should.
Correctly so.
Correctly so.
Because it's a Western. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yep.
I can see, although I was thinking about that today while we're on the topic of just overall rankings and revisiting some old films. I can see why a child would like Back to the Future 2 better.
Yeah, I agree. And I liked it better as a child.
Because like I can see why special effects were more important to me than storytelling.
Well, and I was also a child that very much liked Westerns, like proper Westerns.
No, I still am trying to get into Western.
Yeah.
And they're always good when I watch them. I'm unable to invest the energy into a whole nother genre of movie.
So, Westerns are always going to be great movies, but they're never going to be the best movies.
Have you seen Tombstone?
I have. I wouldn't put it in my top 5.
I don't think I put it in my top 5.
It's a great Western. It's a great movie, but it's not one of the best movies. Anyway, so this puts our Marvel rankings at, some of these things don't exist in this list, so bear with me. From the top down, it's going to be Iron Man, Captain America Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron, The Avengers, Doctor Strange, Captain America the First Avenger, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Ant-Man, Iron Man 3, Thor, Iron Man 2, Thor the Dark World, and The Incredible Hulk.
So where does that put that?
Well, okay, so first of all, let's give a villain ranking.
I like Ego.
Ego.
He's probably like I want to give him the credit he deserves. I'd say he's up there in that Loki party. I really would.
I think he's right there with Ronan.
I think he's better than Ronan.
I agree with that, but we put Ronan pretty high. I think. I don't really remember.
We don't actually have like a.
We really should have written those down.
Somebody in the future will come back to us and be like, I'm not really sure how it ended up.
You put everything in your top 3.
Right. Everybody's
Everyone.
or in your bottom 3.
I liked Ego, though. He's showed a lot of potential, a lot of strong parts, and I really don't...
And it's a tied up loose ends. He's gone.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. He's probably not coming back. I guess he could.
I guess there's all that light on all those planets now.
There's a lot of light floating around, which, that was a loose end. Also, like, they're in the middle of the U.S. somewhere, that the flower is, on Earth.
Kentucky, right?
Yeah. The Avengers would have showed up.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have mattered.
I know, but at least it would have been like Tony Stark responding to the government call of like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, he probably would have been like, I have no idea. Let me call Thor.
Yeah. So that would have been like a cool little tie-in scene.
Could have been good. Could have been great.
If it's just like real quick, you just see Iron Man like scoop somebody up and fly him off.
This movie needed a cameo. It did.
And not from David freaking Hasselhoff.
No. A cameo from the proper Avengers.
I agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
Just Thor. They say there's a cameo from Thor and the gladiator battle between him and Hulk when they're flying through the 700 places. But I don't buy it. I looked closely at that scene and I was like, no, that's just another thing that looks similar.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. I liked Ego. He was cool.
He was cool.
I didn't have a whole lot of problems with him. So where does this movie rank on our ranking list?
Is it better than the Hulk?
Yeah.
You said that kind of reluctantly, so I think that answers the question that comes after that.
It's better than Thor the Dark World. I don't think it's better than Iron Man 2.
Okay.
Thinking back on it, Thor the Dark World was a sincerely bad movie.
Yeah, it was jumbled. It was bad. I'm kind of curious to watch it for those chemistry pieces between Thor and Loki, because I think there's always some good stuff there. They're on screen together.
But it's another movie that suffered from a really not great script.
Really, yeah. But it had a bad villain, too. So
yeah.
I
I personally think I think you could make a case for this being worse than Thor the Dark World, but in my mind, I'm slotting it in there, right? And this is a lot of the reason why I asked to move Thor the Dark World. It's because I like Iron Man 2 better than this. I didn't like Thor the Dark World better than this.
Iron Man 2's got, it's got Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Doing a good job. I mean, he does a good job in that character, Mickey Rourke's kind of the problem in that movie, I think.
Really?
Well,
I don't really know what the problem in that movie is.
It's that Sam Rockwell's not a threat.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Do we hate that movie because people told us to hate that movie?
No, I don't like that movie.
You sure?
I think so.
So what's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell's not a threat, and he's a huge part of the movie.
What do you mean he's not a threat?
I mean, he can't figure out anything.
Yeah, that's true. They're all beaten really easily.
Right. Like, there's not really any danger in the whole thing.
That's true.
And the greatest peril is like, you're a little fair. Might have some bad guys at it. You know what happens if Ego wins?
The universe gets destroyed.
Right. Like eventually, if Tony Stark, tanks would have beaten Ivan
But I
Vanko.
mean, seriously, like I firmly believe that like the first, it's a 2 hour and 15 minute long movie.
Yeah.
plus some time for oh, you know what we didn't talk about at all is the 5 post-credit scenes.
I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, what you said you don't have time for it?
This is a lot of post-credit scenes. I get it. They're just dropping little jokes in on most of them, and like almost none of them give you any ideas to what's going to happen in the future.
But, like 5?
Like they give the one that tells you what's going to happen in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I hope, or I don't hope. I hope they just don't do it, or it's in a different movie with the Sovereign.
Yeah.
Like we created our new thing.
Oh, we created
No. I want a Ravagers.
Yeah.
Ravagers are the villain.
Like,
that's what I want.
The thing with Kraglin trying to get the arrow thing and shooting Drax in the neck, that was pretty funny. The Ravager thing was cool, and then Teenage Groot was cool.
I don't much care for Teenage Groot, and it hasn't even happened yet. I don't know how that's.
I think they'll just fly over it.
No, he's Teenage Groot in Infinity War.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
He's a raccoon, not a fox.
A raccoon.
A raccoon.
Anyway, yeah. So there are 5 post-credit scenes. What were we talking about before that? Sorry, that just caught my mind.
I don't remember. Where are we?
I have no idea. We were talking
movie
about
ranking.
We're talking about the ranking. So yeah,
we ate a breakfast food.
Yeah, so hold on. We're putting it above Thor: The Dark World, below Iron Man 2 in 12th place.
Correct.
It's hard to visualize because stuff got moved around, and there's a movie missing from my list.
Yes, because that movie is not live yet.
Right, because we've recorded it. But I don't have it in front of me. Okay, we need a breakfast ranking. What I was saying, hold on, before this, and this I need to say this before I tell you my breakfast ranking. Is I firmly believe that the first hour and 45 minutes of this movie were trash. There was a couple scenes sprinkled in there. Then the ending, once Yondu decided to do his sacrifice thing, that was cool. After that point, I was like, okay, I'm sold on this. But like I said, they had to salvage, they had to kill off a major character that I'd gotten attached to salvage something out of this trash heap of a movie. Mm-hmm. And I'm not happy about that. So my breakfast food, to me, it doesn't matter what it is, because whatever it is burnt.
Oh, dude, for me, as you know, I've been on a 4-year strong kick lately. And they do that cover of Alanis Morissette's Ironic.
Yeah.
So to me, this movie is like a black fly in your Chardonnay, but that's not a breakfast food. So it's like a black fly in your mimosa. You know?
If it's food, it's burnt. It's a hyped up meal that you had a great meal from that restaurant last time you were here, and you came this time and they just gave you burnt black sausages, over fried eggs,
and hash browns with the square American symbol.
Hey, I love a Waffle House covered hash brown. I love that a lot. That makes me happy. And I can be wrong about that. That, you don't have to love them. I love them. But yeah, it's just not good. It's just not a good movie. At James Gunn, do better.
I think you will. I have faith.
I
don't think it's unforgivable.
No, it's not unforgivable. I don't know, man.
And you know what? I mean, honestly, this was preceded by and succeeded by excellent Marvel films.
Yeah.
Before this was Doctor Strange.
Okay, so
great. Right after this is
we've gotten
Thor,
so far
Ragnarok?
Spider-Man.
No. Spider-Man even.
So we've gotten 5 movies in Phase 3 so far. Mm-hmm. 4 of them have been excellent.
Yeah, no, I knew this was going to happen.
And this one is not good. No, I didn't know that. I've never seen this movie before.
I know, but I told you, didn't I?
Yes, that's how I knew it was going to be bad, is because you didn't like this movie, and you loved Guardians of the Galaxy.
Still do. It's a great movie. Have you ever seen it?
You would not shut up about it. So, when it came around to Guardians 2, and you just texted me, and you're like, Guardians 2, boo. I was like, well, I'm just not watching this movie then.
Yeah, but that was before you and I were super Marvel geeks and had to see all of them.
Right, yeah. No, I agree with that.
That really didn't happen until about 12, 14 weeks ago.
Yeah, October 5th, 2016. 17. Not 16.
When we devoted our lives to Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. Kevin Feige. If you want to come on this movie, or not this movie,
what?
if you want to come
on this movie,
if he wants to come on this podcast, let us know.
What in this cup?
Shut the hell up. How do you pronounce? Let's see if. Hang on. Will Wikipedia say it for me?
Maybe.
I'm figuring this out real quick.
Okay.
Maybe. This says it's Kevin Feige.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
That's what Wikipedia says. Kevin Feige. Capital FY-GHEE.
I'm sitting over my microphone right now, and I feel like all you can hear is me breathing.
Kevin Feige. So Kevin Feige. That's an unsatisfying last name. Sorry, bro. But
I know. I would have changed it to Kevin Kent.
Yeah. Kevin Parker. Kevin.
I would have changed the whole name to Clark Kent.
No, he's just Kevin. You know how like Jeff Bezos that owns Amazon is just Jeff? He can just be Kevin.
He's Jeff Bezos.
The guy that owns Amazon. I just said this.
Yeah, he doesn't just go by Jeff. He's not like Zendaya.
He's known as Jeff.
Is he?
Zendaya's the worst.
What?
Don't like her.
Get out of my
She's
podcast.
not cool enough to go by one word.
She's cooler than I will ever hope to ever be.
Yeah, because you're really lame.
I know. I'm the lamest person. Just so everybody's clear, I am not cool. Let's get that out of the way real quick. I'm lame. Zendaya is cool.
On a scale from Ty to Zendaya, how cool are you?
You're probably cooler than me.
Yeah. Okay, so did we do
far
breakfast food? Is that everything? We did everything.
What did our breakfast food come out to be? Oh, something burnt.
So you're still going to call this a 1 on your binary?
I mean, if your binary is see it or skip it.
Yeah, this is a skipper, bro. If this
Yeah,
was
you
on
can skip
if this
it.
was on an album, if all the Marvel movies were an album and I was on Spotify, this would start playing. I'd be like, skip, give me that Spider-Man.
Would you waste one of your like 5-an-hour Pandora skips on this?
Pandora's for cops.
Pandora's for cops.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna get really close to the microphone here. If you subscribe to Pandora, you're a cop. You're the kind of person that names Gatorade by its flavors.
Wait, you don't drink any Riptide Rush?
No, I drink. What color is Riptide Rush? Purple.
Purple.
Yeah, I drink purple. Light blue. I know what the flavor is for the light blue one that I like. It's Frost Glacier Freeze. I don't call it that. It's not the 90s.
You don't like when your coworkers going out to the like gas station or whatever. I guess they don't do that at your job. You're not like, hey, go grab me a Frost Glacier Freeze.
No, I want a light blue Gatorade.
I want
Light
a
blue.
Rockstar.
Light
In
blue.
fact, my coworkers have figured it out that I drink Monster every day for like a year, and now like they all know if you're going to get energy drinks or whatever for the end of the day sales push, I gets blackout.
The other day, my girlfriend had a bag of Skittles, okay? I gotta
my
tell you
God,
this story real
disgusting.
quick. First of all, Skittles are amazing. Shut the heck up.
Oh, it's like
Skittles are awesome.
so much sugar. Like
Second
you
of
could
all.
like taste the sugar.
Okay, that's fine. Skittles are awesome. Whatever. She had a bag of Skittles, right? And she had a bunch of Skittles in her hand. And I grabbed a green Skittle, right?
Yeah.
She goes, "Did you just eat one of my green apple Skittles?" I was like, "Did you just name Skittle flavors?"
They all taste the same, right?
No, they don't taste the same, but there's like 5 of them. Just use colors. If you name Skittles by the flavor, you subscribe to Pandora, which means you're a cop.
I think coming out of one of my bank accounts is a Pandora subscription.
I'm sure it is, because you're a cop.
I'm not a cop, but I married a cop.
I have Spotify Premium, which means I get unlimited skips, and I get to pick the music I want to listen to.
Yeah, I was a brand ambassador for Spotify. You know what Spotify has on Pandora?
What?
Like 15 million songs.
Yeah, that, and you can pick the songs you want to listen to.
Which is crazy because as a podcast, it's like impossible to get on Spotify if you are not like a big deal.
Yeah, that's okay, because Spotify sucks for podcasts anyway.
It does. Holy crap.
impossible to
There's no
find
sleep
them.
timer. It's impossible to find them. You can't subscribe the way you want to.
Oh man, I forgot to turn on a sleep timer last night, and I listened to like 7 episodes of Sleep With Me.
I thought you said you were over it.
I needed it.
Sleep With Me is excellent.
Apparently, I've gotten addicted to Sleep With Me. I have a problem with things that help me sleep. You may or may not know this about me.
I think I could do.
I once had a
Sleep With Me
severe
type
melatonin
podcast.
addiction.
Severe?
I ate a whole bottle in one night one time.
Why?
Because I couldn't sleep.
You just drink a beer.
Because I was 19.
Yeah, okay. I lived with you when you were 19. There
I was at
beer.
my parents' house.
Ah.
It was over winter break. Alexa, don't even start with me. Sorry, I don't know that.
We are now over 2 hours, so let's go ahead and wrap this up, and then we can
fine.
dick around about this stuff.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Bacon and Eggs.
Say it with your chest.
Are you telling me to do it again?
No, I'm just telling you, have some confidence. Speak with confidence. Speak like you actually care that they listen to Bacon and Eggs. They just spent the last hour and some change listening to us talk about sort of Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2 and sort of stuff that wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2.
I'm going to smolder while I
Smolder.
Thank
Thank
you so much for listening to Bacon and Eggs, the podcast, a movie review podcast, where this week we reviewed not Back to the Future, which is what my body wants to say. Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. It was a good time. I think we both rated it at a 0, if we're being honest
I was
here.
about to say, I'm going to fight you over that one.
Yeah, it's rough. Wasn't the best. It wasn't our favorite one, but I hope this was your favorite. We hope that you love Bacon and Eggs, and we hope that you considered supporting us on Patreon or going to any of our affiliate programs and taking part in what we have to offer. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram. I am at AmeriCarlin. That's America RLIN. And Ethan is at Wow Now. The O's are zeros. That's Twitter and Instagram. Or you can find the podcast itself on Twitter at Bacon and Eggs 23. We're adding new stuff to that Twitter account every day, trying to make it better and more fun for everybody.
More fun for everyone.
But the greatest place to get in touch with Ethan and I is either our email, baconandeggsmedia@gmail.com, where we are always accepting applications for guest hosts. You just shoot us an email with best breakfast you've ever had. Or, Ethan, what's the other best way to get in touch with us if you want to be a part of the community?
It's our super fun, super secret, super awesome Facebook group. It's on Facebook. There's a link in the description. I don't know the URL to tell you to get there off the top of my head because it's like facebook.com/something.
But you can just unlimited conversation with Ethan and I.
This one really rolls off the tongue. Facebook.com/groups/1980923177837/
Right off the tongue.
0118999.
But you can join that group and you can ask us literally anything you want, or you can talk to the other people. Currently, we're talking about coffee and why Canada calls coffee
Roll up the rim.
things.
Roll up the rim. I've never been to Tim Hortons in my life.
I would go to Tim Hortons. I think I've been to Tim Hortons. I've been to Caribou. Super good.
You've been to Tim Hortons?
Maybe.
Never been to Tim Hortons.
You telling me you've never been?
No,
or
I'm
you
telling you I've never been to Tim Hortons.
If they have it in Minnesota, I've been.
I want to go to Tim Hortons.
0118999.
I'll explain this to you guys later. And if you want to know about my strong desire to live in rural Canada, at me.
At Ethan.
At
Wow Now.
Or just ask me in the Facebook group.
The Facebook group is super duper fun. We really don't know what we're supposed to be talking about in there, but we're talking about stuff. It's become less of like a discussion place and more of like a hangout. It's like a coffee shop.
Post
It's
cool
like an
stuff all
online
the time.
coffee shop.
Today, Sarah Smith posted a picture of the Chinese theater. Another cheap American knockoff.
It's also a place where you can try to add Vaishon as a friend on Facebook. Vaishon is our graphics guy as well as our merch guy. Vaishon Brandon, if you like his information, you can always shoot us an email or just ask.
I can almost guarantee you that there will be a link for merch in the doobly-doo on this episode.
Yeah, buy our shirts. They're awesome. I don't know what they say because at this moment they're not finalized. But buy them. We love them and we worked very hard on them.
Yeah. Real hard. Until next week, arrivederci.
American Broadcast Corporation.
Bitch.